welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good day. We're back with another episode of The Overview, which is our Premier League preview show here on the channel. Match day 3. I'm already dreading it. I'll be honest, I'm already dreading it. Big games, especially that Monday Night Football game. But we have an excellent guest today. Matisse joins us, representing Chelsea. How you doing, mate?
Very good, very good. Very happy to be back on. I'm just getting over, obviously, what happened at the weekend with Chelsea and Tottenham. But I'm moving on now, ready for game week 3, so I'm excited.
Yeah, you calm down. Battle of the Bridge.
Yeah, I mean, tensions are flaring up, for sure. It's a real rivalry, but we love it. We love to see it in the Premier League. It felt very old-fashioned, that game. You know, there's fights, there's problems, there's drama. That's what we want. We don't want these handshakes, these hugs and kisses that Klopp and Pep have. You know, we want real rivalry.
It was proper. It was really proper. There was no eye contact. I'll make sure I do that today. Eye contact. I'll give you eye contact. That's what we're looking for. But get your thoughts on all of the Premier League fixtures in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. We do have to start, unfortunately, with the Monday Night Football, the game under the lights, Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Liverpool. An interesting statistic, actually, before we start. I was doing a bit of research before we started. Manchester United, in the last 5 meetings at Old Trafford between United and Liverpool, we have only won once. That was in 2018, 2-1 victory. That was Mourinho era, Manchester United. Since then, we've got 2 draws and 2 losses for United.
Martial scored?
I know Rashford was the one where he sort of spins, he puts Trent on his heels, sort of flick, and I think that's back in Carrius days as well, to be honest. I mean, it's a long time ago. It's a long time ago. That's the only hope we've got, of course, but 2 sides, right, without a Premier League victory so far this season. Manchester United, of course, 2 consecutive defeats. The game against Brighton was bad. The game against Brentford was worse. But Liverpool, 2 consecutive draws. First Fulham away, and then obviously on the Monday Night Football, Crystal Palace at home. How do you see this one as an outsider looking in? Give me some hope, please.
Usually, I would say Liverpool are going to absolutely steamroll. And it's like, you know, in the last couple of years, there's just no competition. And I still think they're going to win. Because for me, when I look at the mentality of Liverpool, and I compare it to the mentality of Manchester United, in terms of the playing squads, there is no comparison. But, because even when Liverpool went down to 10 men, they kept pushing and pushing, and they looked like they were going to get that winner. Manchester United right now, from a mentality standpoint, it's just all over the shop. There's so much drama. We don't know if Ronaldo wants to stay or go. De Gea's messing around. Maguire, like, there's just so many moving pieces. And the team isn't balanced in terms of what you're trying to do from a philosophy standpoint. However, Liverpool have a lot of injuries. Yes. There's no Matip at the moment. Konate missed the game against Palace as well. The midfield was looking quite bare as well. Keita was only just coming back. They've Thiago, there's so many injury issues in midfield. So, when you look at it like that, you think, you know, wow, there could be an opportunity if Manchester United actually turn up. And it's kind of like Chelsea, how we turned up against Tottenham. You know, you guys have to have that kind of lift. You have to say, this is a massive game. This is a derby. We need to rise to the occasion and put everything aside, put all of the controversy, all of the doubt, even the lack of quality. Just find some quality from somewhere and just put it out there. But I don't know, your approach, Ten Hag, I think he's going to learn some harsh lessons in the Premier League. He's quickly finding out that if you don't have every single, you know, if you don't have every single key to every lock, there's no point trying to play out the back. Every single opportunity, you have to mix it up. Man United players should know this as well. Brentford, you're getting sucker punched by, you know, poor passes. De Gea was dreadful, you know, the cross collection. I don't know whether he plays. Does he continue to hold his starting place? I saw little links for Summer in goal. I don't know. Like, Tom Heaton's gone, Dean Henderson, clean sheet against West Ham. It's uncomfortable conversations, but De Gea and Man United under this Ten Hag era, does he have the ability to do what a goalkeeper needs to do? Is for Ten Hag playing out from the back? It's a lot going on at Man United, man. I don't know. I wouldn't be confident.
No, I'm not. I'm really not confident at all. Look, I know that what is wild is that if we somehow got a win, we'd actually be above Liverpool. Yeah, which is wild. But I don't hold out much hope, because whilst Liverpool didn't win their first 2 games, whilst it was 2 draws, they played well. They played well. Against Crystal Palace, they got sucker punched on the counter-attack. Zaha, the finish is unbelievable. The pass to Zaha is unbelievable. I thought Palace did really well, but also I thought Liverpool played well. They missed massive chances.
They did,
Nunes missed a huge chance. Of course, he's suspended as well. Headbutt settings. He fears Martinez. That's why.
I think that's good for you that he's suspended in a way.
I don't know, but I saw him missing chances and I thought we need that.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point, to be fair. Firmino, he didn't have a great impact at Fulham when he started. He was fourth, and you got hooked off for Nunes, so you then got a goal and assist. Liverpool are strange right now because Van Dijk is making some errors as well. Didn't close down the Zaha shot. Was he jockeying too much? Fulham made a mistake for the penalty for Mitrovic. So it's all up in the air. Maybe it's a draw. Maybe it's a kind of... I would love that as a rival, man. I'm just saying, I'd love a draw.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'd rip your hand
take
off.
A draw?
Oh, my goodness, I'd rip your hand off for a draw because that would imply, I mean, I can't see it being 0-0. So that would imply maybe, I mean, United, this is what's crazy as well. 2 games in, we have scored a goal, but it was an own goal. We haven't had anyone that scored a goal. We've conceded, what is it? At this point, 6 goals, got a bottom of the table, -5 goal difference. It's scary times. And if we lose this game, this would be record-breaking for us because we've never lost our first 3 Premier League games in a row. It's crazy settings. I mean, we've lost our first 2 before, then we drew the 3rd game, but we won the league that season. That ain't happening. That was the first Premier League season. So I don't know. I'm bracing myself. I really, really am. I think also the concern is that Liverpool, they're coming into that game. Again, it's not the best start, so they're fired up anyway. Old Trafford, the atmosphere isn't great right now too. A bad early start. I mean, the signs were there in pre-season. Whilst we were playing well, you talk about playing out from the back, just the slightest press, it's a mistake, it's a bad pass. Liverpool, they're the best at it. That's exactly what they do. And that is alarming. So it'll be interesting to see if Ten Hag does try and adapt, if he deviates from his philosophy. I don't know if he's the kind of coach to do that, though, as well. So it really is going to be a fascinating game. But yeah, I'm worried.
I think in the Dutch league, Ajax have the best team. He's obviously coached them. He's the best manager in that league. So everybody's trying to play a similar style. The better players will prevail 99 times out of 100. Whereas in this league, you're going to get so many different variables. You know, Brentford are playing that ball down that channel to Martinez, who, when I watched it back, he didn't have a bad game.
Yeah, what did you make of it? He got hooked off at half time.
I know he got hooked off, but I think... Now, I wouldn't move him out of centre-back because necessarily I don't think he can play centre-back. I think it's too early to say that. Yes, he's not the tallest. We've seen the memes. But if you get the right partner...
That lineup one is a violation.
Yeah, it's proper vile.
He's like peeking out from the table like this.
I personally wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have that. But my biggest issue with Martinez at centre-back now is who he's partnered with. I don't trust Maguire next to him. That's not that's not a sturdy, confident centre-back to say for a new signing coming into the Premier League where he is going to have to adapt and he's going to face different challenges. That's not a settled back line to come into. De Gea is a mess at the moment behind him. The left-back, sure, is a mess. I mean, you're surrounded by players that are low on confidence and lacking ability, and then you ask him to go in there and fix it. Of course he's going to have issues. But I don't think he was awful. But I do think moving him into DM, because the midfield is very imbalanced. Fred's in there. He's not a DM. McTominay, when he plays, is not a DM. Eriksen, is a liability defensively. Good for build-up, but a liability off the ball. And we can keep going and going. So I think if you move Martinez into holding midfield, you might actually put his strengths on a platter more, so everybody can see his strengths. And also, he might just protect those centre-backs more. I think your centre-backs all season are going to be a problem. All season. But if Martinez is doing his job in front, then they will be relieved of some pressure and they might just have less problems. There'll still be problems, but just less.
Before we get into the prediction for the game, at the time of recording, and by the time this goes out, who even knows? Because transfer news moves so quickly. Christian Pulisic, linked to Manchester United. Of course, being a Chelsea fan, what have you made to that? I mean, I think it was Andy Mitten from The Athletic reported that it could be a loan. We were chatting before we started doing this, and you said, no, it's got to be a permanent deal. How are your feelings about that? Is that one possible for United? I mean, we're desperate for signings, clearly. Is Pulisic really an option for us, do you think?
Utter foolishness.
Really?
Utter foolishness of the highest order. Makes no sense to me, but definitely not on a loan. Like, I wouldn't strengthen or help. I wouldn't even say strengthen or not, because Pulisic is very hot and cold. But I wouldn't do business with Manchester United at the best of the times. If I was a Chelsea, owner, why would you sell to Man United? But we have done business before. Why Mata and Nemanja Matic? So if the price is right and we feel like it doesn't make sense for us to keep the player, we will do business. So that's why I won't completely rule it out. But on a loan deal, that doesn't help us in any regard. We don't get any money, and he's not in our team, and he's in your team, and potentially helps you actually compete. So there's no way that happens on a loan, in my opinion. Does the move make sense? Not really. I think he's getting desperate. I think Man United now, would Pulisic, the way I always look at it is this a target from the beginning of the window? No. This is a target because rejection, desperation, Moving on down the list, opportunism as well. Oh, he's available or he's unsettled. Let's go for him. But tactically, does it make sense? He would have to play left wing because at the right, he really doesn't have the same level of quality as the left. This is the same kind of player that was at Dortmund and Sancho obviously leapfrogged. Yeah. But then you could argue, is Sancho better from the left as well?
We've got so many left-sided players that we just try and force out on the right.
Rashford, and then so you have this lopsided left, and then you kind of everybody has to just move over to the right just because, but they're not as efficient over there. That's the same as Pulisic. I think you actually need a right winger, an actual right winger. He was going after Anthony, so that although I don't think Anthony's ready to make that level of a move to the Premier League, I think he still needs to have maybe one more year really put out those metrics. At least it made sense from a positional standpoint, but. This one for me doesn't make any sense, but I think it's desperation. Arnautovic was desperation. Rabiot was desperation. I'm seeing Morata links, Griezmann, desperation.
Yeah,
it's just getting very sporadic. At the beginning of the window, you were linked with loads of Ajax players, and at least you could say, okay, Ten Hag needs to learn to see other sides outside of Ajax, but at least you could say it makes sense. This some of the links I'm seeing now don't make any sense.
Yeah, the Pulisic one, the only thing I can think of is just from the Glazer perspective, American play commercially, it almost makes sense because they're thinking big American market, big player. Of course, he's a huge star in America, but that's it. That's the only positive I can think of.
When are the Glazers? I mean, the Glazers love commercials, right? Yeah. I even saw one time I clicked on your fan page, your club account, and there was like 50% off merchandise or whatever in the bio. When is that bio going to have Premier League winners? If you're talking about commercial, you can sign. And again, I hope Chelsea don't go down this road, but because our preseason was heavily commercialized.
Yeah.
We talk about commercials and sales. That's all lovely. Do you know what? Best thing for commercial? Winning stuff. Winning trophies. When are they going to get that through their heads? If you want to have success off the pitch, win trophies. Win trophies. Be at the top of football and you will see success across the board. It's what Real Madrid are built upon. Being the biggest club is about winning. You win the Champions League, you win this, you win that, you bring in better players. If Manchester United could attract not a Pulisic but an Mbappe, commercially that's great, but you can't attract an Mbappe in the Europa League. Man United are getting rejected by player after player after player. Casemiro apparently doesn't want to go. It's just every single player they go for, they're getting rejected. That's not good for commercial. You can't sign big names. You can't do anything commercially. And if Pulisic, he's American, great, gets the passport check. But if he doesn't actually play games well and perform, he's not gonna be commercially selling too much because there'll be another star boy like McKenzie or whoever in America, and that will be the new go-to. So even from Pulisic's standpoint, if you want to continue to be that leader for the American team, obviously the World Cup's coming up. You got to play, and you got to play in a team that suits you and gets the best out of your ability. I think for Pulisic, go to the Bundesliga, go to Serie A. Just a different challenge altogether in a team that you definitely 100% suits what you're trying to do. And Manchester United, the same. You need to buy better quality, but you also need to perform on the pitch for that to happen. Yeah,
certainly going to be an interesting one, what happens with that. Prediction, United, Liverpool, what are you going with?
I'm on a United channel, but I'm not going to...
All right, just be honest.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie. Honest. Yeah, I'm not going to lie.
We can handle the truth.
Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, you definitely can. I'm gonna go with Liverpool. I'm going to go over 2-1 win for Liverpool. I do think it will be close.
Interesting.
Because they have injuries, but your defense is a mess. I can't see you being defensively resolute, which is what you need to be against Liverpool. I think if you keep playing out from the back, you're going to get caught. And even still, I think you're going to concede Salah and these guys will turn up. But I think you'll get a goal as well. They're not looking great defensively either.
I'm a United fan on a United channel, and I think we're going to get peppered. Absolutely peppered. I mean, again, Brentford... That can happen again. It's so fragile with Manchester United, and they'll be playing up from the back early on. They'll press us, and that's my worry. So I could see it, honestly. Last year it was 5-0.
Yeah, it was.
I could see a complete replication, honestly, and maybe even worse. It's honestly...
If they had their full team, I would have predicted something wild.
Yeah.
Like, I would have predicted a 5-0 or something, but because they got players missing, I thought... Maybe you have something to
we can live in hope. Let's move on. Let's talk about your team. Let's talk about Leeds United versus Chelsea. Now, surprisingly about Leeds, despite losing big players in the summer, Rafinha, Calvin Phillips, they started the season really well. Yeah, they've got a win and a draw. How do you fancy going to Elland Road? Hostile atmosphere? I mean, hostile atmosphere at Stamford Bridge last weekend. So you're going into another one.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
It's a tough game. You can't rule anybody out in the Premier League. And Chelsea's biggest issue is consistency.
Yeah.
It's all good getting up for Tottenham, getting up for Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final, the FA Cup final. we can get out for these big games, and we've shown we can go toe to toe with the best teams, with best managers. But these games against Leeds, I think we beat them last season. I forget. Because at this point, I've just wanted to forget the whole season it's such a stressful season for my club. Liquidation, whatnot. I just forgot everything. But yeah, these games here where we're expected to be imposing ourselves on the opposition, we're expected to dominate. We did beat them. Yeah, I just remembered. Beautiful. We need to do that again.
Yeah.
We need to do that again. They have lost Rafinha, who's a key man. They have lost Phillips, but we do need to be consistent, and we need to show that from an attacking standpoint. That's what I'm looking at. Defensively, we conceded the 2 goals. I won't get into that against Tottenham, but I trust our defence to do their job. They're the ones even getting the goals, as we saw against Tottenham as well. But those attackers, Kai, he needs to bag. He needs to score against Leeds. Sterling, it's time to get your first goal as well. Mason, got to improve your finishing. Finishing wasn't great against Tottenham. These guys need to put the ball in the back of the net. We can't rely on defenders to score goals, which is what happened at the start of last season. And we went on a good run. But again, it was never, I guess, consistent. Take off those blue tinted glasses. We thought that Lukaku would actually, start to get his goals and get into the team and adapt, and everything would align, but it didn't. And those defenders, in the end, they won't keep scoring constantly. Reece James, Koulibaly, all these guys. So, but I'm happy. We played a lot better against Tottenham, so I'm a lot more confident going into this game, because against Everton we was a mess. So yeah, this is a game I expect us to win, but it's not going to be easy.
You have to keep an eye out for Rodrigo from Leeds United, currently top goal scorer in the Premier League after 2 games, 3 goals. You spoke about the defence as well. Koulibaly comes in. But is the big, I guess, talking point about Chelsea, and everyone's talking about, you've made an offer for Gordon from Everton, is the lack of the striker, the lack of the number 9. Do you see any business between now and the end of the window? Do you think you're going to get that 9 in, that striker, or is it going to be a bit like it was towards the tail end of last season, where it is Havertz as a false 9, whether it's Sterling in a striker position? Do you think that's what Chelsea are going to be doing this season?
I think Chelsea need to focus on chance creation and finishing, because they're both an issue. It's not just Chelsea create loads of chances and don't finish any of them, and it's not Chelsea have great finishing but don't create a load of chances. It's both that are an issue. So for me, I would like a player that can do both those things. That's why I wanted Rafinha. That's why I wanted Gabriel Jesus. These players that work hard off the ball, they press from the front, so they fit what we're trying to do. They create those turnovers, which is what happened against Tottenham, but they also help us create, because they can take players on, they can go past players, but they can also finish. For me, when you start to go down the line of, we're just going to have a finisher who needs service, and we have no elite passers, we don't have a Kevin De Bruyne, we don't have a David Silva or Fabregas, all these guys that maybe going out in extinct in football at this point, but we don't have elite passers. So now the service and the creativity is limited. You're asking strikers to outperform their XG, which is what Lukaku did at the first part of the season, and maybe is what Ronaldo would do, for Man United if you guys don't create enough chances for him, etc. So for me, I think we do need another player. Gordon is a hard worker. Obviously, he's going to press. He's got potential. I won't write him off, because I've seen players sign for my club before where they're not a massive name, but they just fit the system, like a Victor Moses under Conte in a title season. Yeah, exactly. Liverpool, Andy Robertson. So you can, we're paying a lot more, which is not something I'm impressed about.
Yeah.
The price is crazy, but you could sign these younger names that you don't expect to just rip up the place, but they actually come through for you. But it's not something I'm excited by. It's not something to get me off my seat. It's something where if we bring him in, let's see where he plays. We've got Ruben playing right wing back, who played great.
Yeah, that was a really interesting choice.
Yeah.
I saw Thomas Tuchel say, well, we tried it a couple of times in pre-season, tried it before, and when you think about the modern wing back, you can see why it would work. It's just a pure athlete, which is what Ruben Loftus-Cheek is.
Great carrier of the ball, good dribbler, strong. And I think it makes sense to have him there over have him in the pivot, because in the pivot you need to be a bit more restricted, positionally, defensively more aware. You attack with 5 in this system, you defend with 5. The 2 wing backs push into wingers, and the pivot trying to sit in front of that back four, help up, build up play, and try and create. So for me, if you're going to want license to constantly go, then it makes sense. And we outnumbered them in midfield. So I'm hoping that we see similar against Leeds. Try and outnumber them in midfield. The game is won and lost in them. And once you've got control there, then you can go from there.
Shout out Jesse Marsch as well, actually, for Leeds, because again, a lot of people were writing him off this season. They did obviously big business in the summer, brought in a few American players as well. Again, Ellen Road's going to be the big factor, I think, in this one. Again, the atmosphere is always good there, always hostile. Prediction-wise, I'm going to say I think Chelsea do it. I didn't subscribe to the notion people were making over the summer going, Chelsea had a bad window because you got rejected by a couple of players.
Yeah.
You still signed Koulibaly. You still signed Sterling. You just signed the guy from Inter Milan as well. And I think you'll do more business. Todd Boehly means business. He's spending big. Even Ronaldo's still being linked to Chelsea. That's a possibility, I guess. So I'm going to go with a Chelsea win. I'm going to probably go, I reckon 2-1 though. That's going to be a tight game, I think. Yeah. What do you think?
2-1's a good one, you know. I'll probably go along with that. I want a clean sheet. I'm gonna go 2-0. I want a clean sheet. I think the defense, they're more than capable. I know Rodrigo's having good form, but they're more than capable of a clean sheet. And then I hope to see some goals from our front line, ideally.
Let's move on to Spurs. Obviously, your opponent last weekend. As with the case probably was Tuchel, Conte, it's up in the air whether they're actually going to be on the touchline. They've been charged. I guess they have.
They won't be.
Yeah, I guess they have the situation where they can appeal it
be.
if they want, but they're going to be charged, which is a shame, to be honest. But it is what it is, I guess. Spurs versus Wolves. Spurs are an interesting one because a lot of people were talking about them this season after the transfer window they had, saying that they were going to be competing, title challenges maybe, which I just, to be honest, don't see. Don't see. I thought they were really fortunate to get a point at Stamford Bridge, not only just by the way they played, but also due to, obviously, refereeing decisions as well. How do you fancy them against Wolves? I mean, Wolves at the moment, 1 point, a loss and a draw. They've just signed a midfielder this week, which could possibly mean Ruben Neves leaves them, possibly United been linked to him. So how do you see that one?
I would have to favour Tottenham. I mean, they came to the Bridge and maybe from a mentality standpoint, they're having backflashes or flashbacks, of what's happened previously.
That's a great word.
Backflashes, yeah. Do you know what?
That is an invention, which is superb.
I always swap them. I don't know why. I always do that, but yeah.
That's incredible.
It happens often. But yeah, I mean, Tottenham, they played brilliantly against Southampton in the opening game week. And then they come to Chelsea and maybe mentally they have a fart in their head. They just think, we're at Stamford Bridge. We can't compete, or we're just going to have to soak up pressure and counter. We can't, play our game. And tactically, for me, Tuchel did, tactically take over from Conte and he had to respond and whatnot. But when they get back to now the Wolves of this world, I think they should, from a quality standpoint, and especially when you see what they have on the bench, they have so much more depth now.
Yeah.
Richarlison can come on and just add that aggression from the front and keep that front three consistently from a quality standpoint, at least come in and try and match that. Whereas a Lucas Moura, Bergwijn, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Bergwijn's gone back to Ajax. Perisic, great player as well.
It's a great squad player to have, isn't it?
MVP of Inter Milan.
Yeah.
Man of the match in the Coppa Italia. Just top professional.
And his corner for that equaliser.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just
delivery.
on the button.
And he's both-footed, so he's no weakness in that respect. And he's got great delivery, and we saw that. Basuma comes in as well. So they've got quality to come in. So I expect them to win. I'd be surprised if they didn't respond from the draw, because they didn't play well at Stamford Bridge.
No.
So they need to respond to that. Everybody, the game is being spoken about so much. It's got so much media attention. Everybody's talking about the performance as well as the decisions, and everybody is saying the same thing, which is Tottenham didn't play well. The players will know that. So I think they'll look to respond.
That's the difference, isn't it, between, I guess, Spurs of last season to this season, is that they didn't play well. They got the point, one, because they hung in there. That's what Conte kind of does. His teams too. They fight, they battle, but as you said, the options are there, which maybe they didn't have before. You can bring on a Perisic to a bit of quality. You can bring on a Richarlison. You can bring on a Basuma. He didn't start any of the new signings against Chelsea again. I don't suspect that would be the case. I think he got a bit of an eye-opener going, actually, I do need to play these players that we bought. So prediction for that one, I mean, we haven't spoke much about Wolves. Interesting one with them, because they had Connor Cody go to Everton, which really surprised me.
Same.
I know he's got the links to Merseyside and all that kind of stuff, but he's the talismanic figure, captain. And Bruno Lage, I think, did a decent job last season. They started really slow. I remember we played them last season. We were really fortunate to draw against them. They play some good stuff. But it's always an issue, again, with striker. I think Jimenez, he's out injured at the moment. Goals are going to be an issue with them. But as you mentioned, I think Spurs at home, that's the game. If Spurs are going to qualify for the top four again, they have to win that game.
Have to win those games.
Yeah.
Matisse Nunes as well, from Sporting.
Yeah, 100%.
Everybody's been talking about this midfielder, linked with Liverpool earlier on in the window. And now he's joining Wolves. And it's a big signing. It's a massive signing for them. And I haven't watched a lot of the player, but I've heard a lot of the hype, and I'm very excited to see how he does. They needed some fresh injection in there. João Moutinho has been aging. Neves as well is always constantly linked with moves, but they've kind of outpriced him. So he's just going to give another dynamic into that midfield. maybe even add some goals. Scored a cracker the other weekend, blasted it into the top corner for Sporting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him, and obviously they got that Portuguese connection, Jorge Mendes. They love to bring in those players. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yes. So prediction for that one?
I would go over Tottenham win. I think I'm going to go 3-1.
You know what? I was just about to say that, but I'll take the goal off. I'll go 3-0. I'll go 3-0. I think Spurs, I do think they'll get top 4 this season. I just look at the competition around, like United ain't getting anywhere near. So with that one. So yeah, I'm going to go Spurs 3-0. I think they'll be fairly comfortable. Let's talk about their North London rivals. Bournemouth are facing Arsenal. Arsenal's away trip obviously started the season really well. Looked super impressive, it must be said. That Friday night football game they had against Palace, I was really impressed by. Obviously, I've got a few friends that are Arsenal fans talking a big game, talking about Gabriel Jesus, talking about Zinchenko. But already, and I guess this is a compliment to Man City, they go into that team, they already look a class above. Already look a class above. And legitimately, I'm not going to say Arsenal are title contenders by any stretch of the imagination, but last season, they were just a couple of players away, it felt like, from that top 4 position. This is the season for Arteta, and they played, again, Jesus against Leicester last weekend was fantastic. Bournemouth, on the other hand, look, they surprised me. I thought Bournemouth, that opening game of the season against Aston Villa, was surprised, even though they're at home, won that game. That's got to be their method of staying up this season, win your games at home. Obviously lost against Man City, Etihad. We all knew that was going to happen. That was just is what it is. But do you think Arsenal, that's a challenging one? That might be one that in years gone past, Arsenal might slip up. Away from home, Bournemouth, newly promoted side. What do you reckon about that one?
It's an interesting one because, newly promoted side at home, the crowd will be up. First big team coming to the ground, and they want to make a statement. They want to showcase that they're back, because when they were here under Eddie Howe, they were a good team. Very good team. But it's very hard, even with my Chelsea hat, to look past Arsenal right now. And I say that because I can't see Jesus. I can't see when he stops scoring. The guy right now, his injury record is brilliant. He's technical. He's versatile. His hold-up play even in that game against Leicester, the ball was booted up to him and he headed it down, brought it down with his chest, started to fashion out his own chance. The goal that he scored was out of nothing.
That first goal was
guy,
unbelievable.
I'm honestly, I'm a massive admirer of him. I've spoken about him for a few years now, but when the link started, circulating around that he would leave, I was desperate for him to join. And people watching me constantly are going to get bored of me talking about him because he's such a good player. And I can't see him falling off right now in terms of goals. He might go for a period, maybe when the World Cup comes, and then fatigue maybe. Possibly. And obviously with Brazil, that's the only time where I can think, okay, maybe Jesus is going to need help from Nketiah. But right now, feel good factor, new club. Zinchenko is playing really well as well. Everybody's fit. It's one game a week. I expect them to win the game. And if they don't, I'd be shocked. I really would be.
Yeah, I would be shocked as well. Again, I thought Arsenal, especially in that opening game against Palace, I thought they looked so sharp. They really did. The only criticism in that game would be towards the end of the game, kind of looked like they fell off a little bit, maybe a bit of tiredness, fatigue, but they just...
Palace, good team.
Exactly,
Happens.
good team away from home. But then in that follow-up game against Leicester, again, I thought they were really, really strong. And also when Leicester started to come back into the game, immediately get another goal, 3-1, kill the game off. Previously, Arsenal of old might have crumbled, again, mentality, but they do look really, really sharp. And they should beat Bournemouth, even though it's away from home. They should beat them, and if they do, 3 wins out of 3.
It's good.
That's momentum. That really is momentum. I know after Liverpool drew on Monday, people are going, "Oh, it's Pep versus Arteta for the title this season." I wouldn't go that far. I mean, they've got to play Europa League football, Arsenal, this season, and that's going to be the real challenge. Thursday, Sunday. But look, they've got a really good team. I think they look really sharp. Zinchenko, Jesus. They're strong. Plus your Sakas, plus your Smith Rowes.
Xhaka as well. Moving further up the pitch now. He's had the license to do that. Zinchenko tucking in as like this inverted fullback has given Xhaka some license to move forward and showing that he can get some goals as well. He's got a great shot on him from distance. I still think they could do with another winger if Pepe was to leave on loan or something. I've seen some links there. Another midfielder as well. This is to really solidify the squad in terms of depth, because when those injuries come and the Europa League fixtures come, you're going to need to rotate, and those guys coming in are going to need to play at the same level. But right now it's looking very good.
Saliba as well. Great player, young player. Ramsdale, distribution. Talk about De Gea really was struggling with that. Ramsdale was the opposite of that. Some of his distribution so far this season has been excellent. So I expect Arsenal to win. I mean, just briefly on Bournemouth as well. Like I said, it's going to be a difficult season. It always is, for them. But Scott Parker, It's funny because they've always got this identity, Bournemouth. They still try and play football. It's not a case of Arsenal coming to their stadium at the weekend and it's going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to shut up shop. No, they're not.
Yeah.
They're going to try and play football, stick to playing football. Just you have to be cautious in those games, don't you? Because if you do that, that's ultimately what led to their downfall under Eddie Howe. Is at points you have to go, right, we are a newly promoted side.
Yeah.
We do have to not constantly keep trying to play this style. Games like Arsenal is when it can get a bit ugly. But look, I'm going to go with an Arsenal win. What are you saying?
Yeah, I think I'll go with an Arsenal win. I'm going to go 3-0. I think they're going to have a good day.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2-0, but it could be anything. Next game, the Battle of the Billionaires, St James's Park, Newcastle, Manchester City. Now, in years gone by, you'd have gone with Man City all day, every day.
Yeah.
But now things are changing a little bit at Newcastle, right? Eddie Howe, again, just spoke about Eddie Howe, but playing good football. Of course, they've got the money. And their business might not even be done this summer as well. Eddie Howe has spoken about FFP restrictions and all that kind of stuff, but they still are looking for players. This is probably, City had a good opening day against West Ham. Of course, last week, Bournemouth at home, it's a given, it's a 3 points. But this is a banana skin, possibly.
This might be where I shake it up with predictions.
Yeah.
And I try and give something different because Newcastle under Eddie Howe, very, very good team. Very good team. And it was great to see them go up against Brighton, two very good English coaches there. You know, everybody talks about Lampard, Gerrard, but it's really Eddie Howe and Potter that are the top two English coaches. So, I think Newcastle, they've got a good team. They're not bringing in as many players as I thought they would. Obviously, they're bringing Nick Pope, a couple come in. Trippier, you know, he was injured last season as well. They've got some good players, but I think they could definitely do with a couple more. I think they need another winger to complement St Maximum on the other side. Callum Wilson, if he gets injured, is always an issue. But when he's playing, he's obviously a brilliant finisher. But we know they've been looking at wingers. But Newcastle, when you look at that midfield, and it's like Joe Linton, Bruno Guimaraes, that is really good. You know, those two.
Joe Linton as well.
Oh, he's changed.
Revelation. Absolute revelation. I remember we went to St James's Park last season. And it was just after Eddie Howe had been hired. He played Joe Linton centre mid, and everyone goes, what's going on there? He was incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Ball carrier, a threat, up and down, because he reminds me a bit of Yaya Toure in the sense of once he gets going on the ball, nobody's getting near him.
We're starting to see this more.
Yeah, he'll just fling him off.
Iwobi played centre mid for Everton.
Yeah.
We're starting to see more of these forwards who are good ball carriers, who are strong, who are used to playing further forward, now playing in midfield and starting to take that ball carrying ability and that strength and just try and just boss teams in there, and they're not going to be the most expansive passers, and they're not going to be your Scholes or your Gerrard or your Lampard in terms of pinging the ball, but they're just in there to just cause chaos. And when you receive the ball, turn, be press resistant, and just explode. And that's what's going on. And Bruno Guimaraes is, he's looking like one of the best deals of the year in terms of the calendar of the year, because everybody knew about him. You know, he was at Lyon.
Yeah, he was linked to a lot of clubs.
Scouted by big clubs. No one took the punt. And he's come in, he walked it, absolutely walked this league. Every single facet you want from a midfielder, he's covering it. And he's playing out of his skin. Whether it's winning the ball back, the strength, the passing, the goals, the skill, everything. The guy's complete. So, yeah, really, really good deal from them.
Talk to me about Erling Haaland. Of course, pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure, the transfer fee was what it was. Obviously, release clause, it looks like pennies now in comparison to his quality. Got those goals against West Ham. And it was so funny after that Community Shield match because everyone's going, he's rubbish.
Yeah.
Because he missed a couple of chances before the season he started. He's rubbish. They did the same with Darwin Nunez. It's funny how football Twitter works. Plays against West Ham was fantastic. And everyone went, he is the real deal. But then last week against Bournemouth, it was really interesting because he touched the ball, what was it, 8 times?
8 times, yeah.
Gets an assist, though.
Yeah.
So it can't be all too bad. Obviously, he's going to be the danger man. How have you seen so far City slightly adapting how they play? Is it a case of City adapting to him, or does he have to adapt to City, do you think?
I think ideally you want a bit of both, isn't it? You want Haaland to keep developing as a player, and to keep developing his general play outside of the box. But then also City need to know that, listen, we have an absolute, gunman up top, an absolute out-and-out number 9 who puts the ball in the back of net, and you've got to get that ball into him a bit quicker, less methodical play. Play the ball early. He wants the ball played in behind. That goal against West Ham where De Bruyne just bang in behind and straight through to him. So I think they'll have to adapt to each other, but they have a lot more hope than we did with Lukaku because they got elite chance creators, they got elite passers, and that's the difference. Manchester City create chances for fun. So now they just need to slowly make those adjustments, and he'll have to make some adjustments, and then, you know, it will be fine. But in the meantime, while that's happening, goals will still be going in. So yeah, I think City right now, they're looking clearing away. You know, it's a great start for them. 2 wins, and regardless of having these little teething issues, these little things that they have to iron out, they're winning the matches. So yeah, I think when you look at their players, they have depth, they have strength and depth. You could argue that left back situation still needs to be sorted. Bernardo Silva needs to be kept because he's a brilliant player. But yeah, for the time being, Manchester City, they don't seem to have any issues.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's De Bruyne as well.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. He's going to get so many goals this season.
It's just another level. I mean, again, I know it's Bournemouth, but he just class above doesn't even justify it. And like you said, when you've got a striker like Haaland, you know for a fact I'm getting at least 3 or 4 chances this game. Gilt-edged chances, because he'll make it. In addition to De Bruyne making chances for other people, scoring goals. His goal against Bournemouth was unbelievable as well. So it's an interesting one, that. But you said you had a bit of a crazy prediction with this one.
Yeah,
but
now we've spoken about De Bruyne. Now we've spoken about De Bruyne. I don't really see, again, this is another player. I don't see him stopping anytime soon. The only thing that stops De Bruyne is an injury. Like, he's so good. And now that Man City they could push him up higher up the pitch now. They've signed Phillips. He'll play a part at some point. They've got Rodri, who's for me now the best DM in the league, bar none. And maybe even the best DM in the world right now. Yeah, I would say that, because the guy is he does everything that you need from a DM. Like, he's just on the ball, brilliant, off the ball, covers all areas, and he can even shoot from range. So Rodri right now is making that team tick as well, and going under the radar. I think he could even do with even more, praise than he gets. But when it comes down to De Bruyne, the guy can shoot with both feet, any distance. It's just, you just cannot stop the guy right now, and I don't see him stopping at the weekend. So yeah, I don't really think I'm gonna have a surprise.
You've changed. You've changed Matisse. So you're going with the City win.
Yeah, I think they're at home, aren't they?
Oh, it's away.
They're away. Oh, see, no,
that's the little thing I'm thinking.
See, if they were at the Etihad, then. But all right, cool. Let me put my neck out on the line. I do want to get these correct, but let's go with a 2-2.
I'm gonna go with a 1-1. I think that. Again, I think it's going to be a really good game of football, it must be said. Like you said, the issue is of City is that even if they have a slow start, they bring on... I mean, for a fantasy football team, the link is in the description below, by the way, to join our league. It's a right pain. Because last week I was thinking, do I bring in Mahrez? Do I bring in Foden? Do I bring in Grealish? You have no idea which one's going to start.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I could have brought in any, because they'll even if the only issue is if they don't start, but they'll all do well. They'll all get goals. They'll all get assists, and it's just the options they have are just unbelievable. But I'm going to go with a Newcastle City draw. Let's move on. Let's talk about Everton versus Forest. Now, Everton, of course, back-to-back defeats. I think they've been a bit unlucky in both of their games. They just showed up a little bit too late against Aston Villa last weekend, and they've got injuries too. Forest, on the other hand, look, was it 15 players this summer?
A lot.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up and someone new is signing.
It's crazy. But they got the victory last weekend against West Ham. Big game, first game back in the Premier League at home. Got that win. Dean Henson makes a save, which I haven't heard the end of already about it.
Yeah, you won't hear the end of it.
No, you won't. You really won't. But yeah, that's a big game for Everton at home. Forest, a game you would expect them to win, and frankly, pun intended, Lampard needs to win it.
Yeah, they have to win that game, Everton. They have to. If you're not beating a team that's just come up at home, you're in serious problems. And I think when I looked at the quality of Everton's team, I already feel like they will be in a relegation scrap, or they will be within the battle. But how close they are and how nerve-wracking it is all depends on these kind of games for them. Because if you can't pick up that win there, then where are you going to get that win from? And suddenly then it's a spiral, and it's down on confidence, and to pick that back up is difficult as well. And then Lampard could even be risk of getting the sack come Christmas if he's not if he's in the relegation zone. So I'm looking at their options. Dele Alli looks like he's leaving. When he comes on, I'm not seeing anything from him. I'm not seeing anything. I don't know what he's bringing to the team.
What a drop off. I mean, even when he comes on, like he came on last weekend, and you just go,
what?
So
what?
So what is he going to do?
Yeah, like you see him come on, and I was even speaking to an Everton fan before the Chelsea game, and they were like, he's our biggest threat. I said, wow. Because obviously no Calvert-Lewin. I said, yeah, that is alarming. If that's your biggest threat right now, then you're in some serious problems. And hence why no surprise they're asking for so much for Gordon, because their attack is really poor. Richarlison obviously comes out of that, and now it's just fallen apart. So Yeah, Rondon's coming on. What do you expect from him? The goals for Everton are going to be hard to come by. Like, who do you rely on to get you 10 to 15 goals is going to be difficult to see. So I think that's alarming. And defensively, they just love individual errors. They do.
Yeah.
So many errors from Everton. Every time they, against us again, the goal comes from their mistake. It comes from them. Their lack of decision making. Pickford, very, very, very poor. Deciding to try and keep the ball in play when he doesn't need to. So he's under the microscope because that England place, I'm not sure.
No, I agree with you. I think the goalkeeping position is fascinating for England now because, again, it has been Pickford for however many years now, 4 or 5 years. But now you do look at your Ramsdales playing at a high club. You even look at someone Nick Pope.
Yeah, Pope, I was going to mention.
And maybe the issue before for Pope's been that he did play for Burnley and he doesn't play, out from the back. But under Eddie Howe, he's going to be top.
Even if Dean Henderson has a big season, like he did at Sheffield United, he could be in the squad.
Absolutely,
he could make the squad. So yeah, there's competition.
What have you made of Forest's business?
Forest business, wow. Businessmen doing business is what it is. It's fascinating to watch. I mean, they lost a lot of players. They had a lot of players leave. They had a lot of players on loan as well, apparently in their 11 when I speak to Forest fans. But it's just, how does Cooper get this all to gel? That is the question, because when you bring in this many players, there's some quality coming in. Lingard. I think they're looking at Mapai as well. They're looking at a lot of players. Dennis as well. I think he did really well last season for Watford, as well as Sarr, and I think he'll probably leave as well. But it's a lot of players to bring in. It has
to work, though, doesn't it?
Because if it doesn't, wow.
Going into the Championship, I know there's parachute payments.
There better be.
But that's going to be a big parachute.
Yeah,
parachute.
That
is skydive settings parachute. That is unbelievable. So, it's a must-win for Everton. Forest, I don't really know, because, again, if it does gel...
Yeah, big club. I want them to stay. They're a big club. I want them to stay up. It's like Leeds, you need these big historical clubs to be in for at least a couple seasons. You won't want them to go straight back down. They've taken so long to get back. To go straight back down after all this money spent would be a catastrophe.
100%. What are you going to go with then? Prediction for that? It's a tough one, that.
I can't see Everton where they get the goal from, even though you would back them to find it within themselves to get something out of this because they know how important it is. I think I'll go with a draw. I think I'll go 1-1.
Yeah, I think the positive for Everton coming out of last weekend's defeat would be that when they went, was it 2-0 down, they got the goal straight back away. Yeah. And they did finish the game really well, but by that point it was too late. And they did have chances, a couple good saves and blocks as well against Aston Villa. But I think you're right. You know what? Actually, I'm going to go with a Forest win.
Really?
Yeah. I really am, and I think the pressure will really be on Frank Lampard. Again, I didn't see last season for Everton. I didn't see that as a fluke. Like, they had a bad season. No. And if anything, they've lost. They have lost their best players. They've got injuries. So I'm going to go with a Forest win, and I think the pressure is definitely going to be on there, 100%. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As we move on to another team without a victory so far in the Premier League this season, that being West Ham at home to Brighton. Again, we talked about a must-win game for Everton, must-win game for West Ham, surely. Yeah. Again, they haven't had the best start. They had, obviously, Man City on the opening game. That was quite a surprise, I guess. Tough game going away to Forest, but quite surprised that they got that loss. Yeah. Do you see them picking up a victory against Brighton? I mean, you said Graham Potter early on, one of the best, if not the best British or English coach at the moment. It's going to be a tough one.
Really well coached. They play some good football. The fact that Brighton can lose Basuma and lose these players and still respond and play the good football that they play is a testament to the coach. He's really, really good. And I think it's only a matter of time before one of them top 6 clubs, whoever doesn't make top 4, they could have their job on the line. And that's where maybe he comes into the discussion. So he's top. I think West Ham, they're in a situation where I think they will get this win. They're a good team. They're a good team. I know they've had their issues in the first couple of games, but they're still a good team. They competed in Europe last year, got to those semi-finals. They have tried to improve that squad as much as they can. I think Souček needs to help out Declan Rice a lot more in build-up play and just in general in that midfield. I think Souček sometimes goes missing and Rice has to do even more than you would ask of a midfielder at times. Skamaka for me has got to play. I think Skamaka's got to play now.
Big money signing.
Yeah. He's talented. He's wanted by PSG. He did really well in the Serie A last season. You could argue, why didn't other clubs that need forwards, maybe such as ourselves, why didn't we look at him?
Yeah, it's always fascinating with players like that, isn't it? Because they get linked to the big clubs, and then when they go to, say, like a West Ham or wherever, you go, I guess was no one interested
Yeah,
then?
but
What
we'll
was the
see.
situation? Yeah.
We'll see if he performs, isn't it? We'll see if he performs. But he definitely deserves to get that chance now. I think Antonio, he's a good player, but he's getting older now. And I think they've definitely squeezed the sponge a lot on him over the last couple of seasons. They've overplayed him. That could be kicking in now as a factor. And Scamacca will bring those goals if he performs as well. And they've got talent. You know, they had a lot of chances in that game against Forest. Ben Rama, his goal was ruled out because of obviously Antonio's body check, which was quite it was a lot. It was a lot for a defender to take, man. He just rammed into him. And I was like, yeah, that's a foul,
He's
bro.
a big guy.
Yeah, and it was accidental. Like, both of them were just, you know, they couldn't sort themselves out. You know, when you're just running and you're just heads hot and they just clashed. But yeah, I said, wow, there's no way that goal's gonna stand. Penalty miss from Rice as well. You know, you got to put that in. Of course, he's talented, but yeah, I think West Ham will respond, and I think they'll get that win. They have to, surely.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a West Ham win. Again, it's a game that Brighton don't really tend to win, those kind of games. The only thing you could say about West Ham is they've got the Europa Conference League playoff on Thursday, so
I think they'll rest players in that, surely, you think, or at least try and play those other players that need fitness. There's always at the start of the season, depending on how everybody's preseason has gone, there's always 3 or 4 players that don't have the match fitness yet. Yeah. So maybe they'll play those. But I would go for a West Ham 2-0 win.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-1 to West Ham. Final 3 games. We'll go through these ones relatively quickly. Leicester City versus Southampton. Horrible window for Leicester at the moment. They're doing their best to keep on to Fofana, linked to Chelsea. Crazy money.
Crazy
What was it? 70 odd million, 80 odd million, possibly 90.
The money's still here, ladies and gentlemen. I know they said they thought that when we got new ownership, Chelsea going to start being responsible. Nope.
No, I'm going to tell you, as a Man United fan, an £80 million centre-back from Leicester is a risk.
It is a risk. But I think Fofana and Maguire couldn't be more poles apart, so I'm all right. I'm confident. I'm not happy about the money, but hey, it happens. He signed a new contract. It is what it is.
Southampton... there was a report coming out saying that Hasenhüttl might have lost the players in the dressing room already.
Hasenhüttl's lost me too, man.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he could be the one to get sacked as well. I think him, Lampard, there's a few that are knocking on the door for the first sacking of the season, but he's up there because they just fell off last season. I know they were safe already, but you can't just start playing like you're on the beach and just shipping goals, which is what they were doing. Timo Werner made a career of Southampton in the Premier League. That's where most of his goals came from. I think Southampton, I'm struggling to see their team outside of Ward-Prowse. What do they really bring to the table? You know, he's carrying them at times, and I think they're in trouble for sure.
I think it's one of those situations, Southampton, isn't it? Is that if you keep selling players over and over and over again, it comes back to bite you. Eventually, it always has with those kind of teams. I don't think they'll get relegated this season, but it's going to be another one of those seasons. Yeah, 100%. Prediction for that one?
Leicester are not very impressive themselves with the market they've had, but they're at home. They do have quality. I'm going to go over Leicester I'm going to go over 1-0 win for Leicester, actually. I'm
going to go over draw. I think that one. And maybe that might speed up some business for Leicester themselves. Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa. Palace, look, I think they've been really impressive. Yep. Even though they lost against Arsenal opening day, I thought they played well in that game at points. And then obviously away at Liverpool, I thought they did a really good job. I thought that's how you get points against Liverpool at Anfield, I thought. What have you thought of Palace so far?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, you know, when they went a man down Liverpool, I wanted Palace to just come out a bit more and try and score that goal, but I can understand the hesitation. You know, Liverpool are still a threat even with 10 men. They didn't allow any space in behind, you know, and obviously Darwin Núñez did miss his chances as well. You have to get a bit of luck, but yeah, Palace are a good team. You know, Anderson is quality, such a good centre-back, brilliant against Arsenal, brilliant against Liverpool, brilliant ball playing centre-back, switches play.
Oh, yeah, his passing range.
Wonderful
brilliant
to watch, yeah. He stepped up against Liverpool. He was a little bit better. And yeah, I think in this game at home, I want to see Elise now out in that team. You know, I know sometimes he's on the bench. I want to see Elise. Eze, you know, missed a big chance against Arsenal, but brilliant assist for Zaha. Zaha missed some chances against Liverpool, but a brilliant finish. Yeah. So it's a bit hot and cold with the output, and it's going to be like that. You know, all of those guys are inconsistent with the output, but they're entertaining to watch. So I want to see it. Take out Jordan Ayew now. Give me Elise. Give me some sauce. Villa
briefly, of course, big season for Steven Gerrard. Again, he came in last season, bit of a bounce, but then kind of just tailed off. They spent money in the summer, but the injuries. Carlos is the centre back, ruptured Achilles, out for 6 months. Massive blow for them.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be pressure on Gerrard this season. I really do. Even though they beat Everton last weekend, I wasn't blown away, it must be said. And a lot of the times I've watched Villa, haven't really been blown away by them. No, exactly. So going to Selhurst Park's always a difficult one. I'm fancying Palace in this one. What are you saying?
I'm fancying Palace as well. I think that's their first win of the season for me. I'll go over 2-0 win. I think Aston Villa just look a bit disjointed. It's not quite gelled yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 2-1, especially after Villa. They went away to Bournemouth opening day and again failed to impress. So I think we could see something similar. Finally, Fulham versus Brentford, West London derby, a minor one.
Yeah,
not the big West London
the
derby.
Neighbours.
A minor one.
Yeah.
Fulham again against Liverpool opening day. Thought they were really impressive.
Yeah.
Didn't get the result really they wanted against, was it Wolves last weekend? Was it another 0-0, I think? But Mitrovic, they said he can't score goals in the Premier League. He's already got 2 this season. He was really impressive against Liverpool. Brentford, look, obviously they're coming off an unbelievable result last weekend. So, wow. So it should be an interesting one. 2 sides play good stuff. What are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, I mean, physicality, this is going to be, Mitrovic and Brentford. Brentford love a bit of a physical battle. It's Mitrovic versus Tony.
Yeah.
That's what this is, really. This is Mitrovic versus Tony. 2 players that are trying to prove that they can take that step up. Tony obviously got some goals last season, but again, he probably wants to he mentioned it on holiday, right? He wants to get that bigger move.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So I think Tony Mitrovic, that's the clash that I'm looking at for this game. It's just the battle of the strikers. And yeah, it's tough to call because they're gonna be close, I think, this season, these 2. And I can't split them in terms of quality too much. They're definitely gonna be in and around that bottom half, but they've shown that they can handle themselves as well. So yeah, Brentford are very direct. We saw it against Man United. They're in your face and they're pressing from the front if they wish as well. But then they're not afraid to go long and really trouble you physically. They had loads of long throws. Remember last time we played them. So it's just easy to go for a draw, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm feeling a 2. I think this will be a really good game.
Yeah, I think it will be a good game. I'll go with 2-2 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-2. So there you go, guys. Let us know your thoughts and predictions for this week's Premier League match day 3. Huge games, massive games. So let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. In the description as well is the link to join our Fantasy Premier League. You can see how terrible I am in our league at the moment. It's awful.
Is it bad?
I'm not very consistent with it. That's my problem.
It's tough. It's tough to remember to pick the team. That 11 o'clock deadline on a Saturday. Wow, the site just crashes.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Or on a Friday. The Friday one's always one that gets me every single time. So link to join is in the video description below. Also, you can find Matisse. All the links in the video description below as well. Be sure to join also the UV Members Club. You can do so by clicking the link in the video description as well. We're out of here. Have a good one, and we'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.